Hey guys, how you doing? I had to break up the interview with Dr. Stanley Byrd because it was so long. It was very interesting. We got to talking into a lot of things. So I broke up the interview into two parts, and now you're about to see the second part of the interview with Dr. Stanley Byrd. This is DLFTv. Check it out.
I guess like a little filmmaker thing going on when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, I think as I was a young person growing up, I escaped. My escape was reading books and those kinds of things. And then as I was getting older, as a teen, then I wanted to figure out how I could create other worlds myself.
Oh, okay.
And so some of that came out of my imagination, and certainly the Super 8, was it? The Super 8 was one of those experiments, and filmmaking, and really, it was just the beginning of finding my creative muse, so to speak, because certainly filmmaking necessarily is not it, but it got me thinking about other ways to be creative, like writing, etc. And even in my work today, I do lots of workshops and training for individuals. That's a creative effort for me too. Yeah. I love finding information that I think is useful and then turning it into something that could be a workshop for people and those kinds of things. So my creativity hasn't stopped because I haven't written a novel in 10 years, but it continues in the work that I do as a chief diversity officer, at the university that I work at. So that work continues. But in the early days, it was really about escapism. It was about how do you create other worlds and understanding of the way the world is. So I did it through film, like I said, and I certainly read everything that I could get my hands on.
He has, you see this little thing back here, this little library. He has actually one of the rooms that I sleep in. Actually, I think it used to be my room when we lived together. One whole wall is just filled with filled with books, so he reads a lot.
Well, and the other thing too is I know that I have access to all kinds of electronic ways of reading things, but there's just something about picking up the book and holding it and flipping the pages and putting the marker in it and going back to it, and that tangible piece of it. I still like that and need it. So I may eventually do a couple of the books on readers, but for the most part, I like that ability to really just
that's why I still go to the library, because it's just, I like having the books. So oh, actually no, I was going to say there was something else you said. When you create, you're trying to create, and this isn't the exact wording, but you try to create different worlds. And that's interesting that you say it that way, because that's when I'm creating music, other than the stuff that I'm asked to do, like when I'm doing my own stuff, or if I'm sitting somewhere and an idea comes to my head. Like, I don't even know if you heard me last night while you were sleeping, but I was getting in bed and an idea came in my head, so I grabbed my iPhone and was humming and singing into my iPhone. It is about taking someone to another place. And it's not, for me, it's like that other place, first I want them to go where I'm going, but once they get there, I want them to go off to their own place. So and that's kind of like my hook for creativity, because I want them, when I create something, I want people to get the same emotion that I'm getting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But then I want it to evolve into an emotion for them where they can latch onto it and make it memorable for them.
Well, I think writing is the same way.
Definitely.
You really you have an experience.
Stephen King. We'll talk about that later.
You have your personal experience, but when you're reading something that someone else has written, your experience is actually you bring your experience to that reading, and so so it becomes something even more, when you're reading something by someone else. The other thing about my creativity is especially as a young person, there were so many unknowns. And so for me, I wanted to fill those gaps. And so that's why I had to read so much stuff, because I had to fill those gaps of not understanding things. And so sometimes I had to make up things because there wasn't like any credible sources or information that I could use. So so part of the writing and experience for me is also filling the gap of the known and unknown world. And that's very exciting to do, because that's where your mind really starts working. You have A and B. No, you have A and C actually, and then you don't know how you get from A to C, and so you have to figure out something for B, and sometimes that means creating something that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah,
So,
I like that. I like that. Yeah. So these are kind of.
why are you laughing?
It says, "What sound or noise do you love?"
I have to tell you though, the sound of the bird singing at dawn when you're waking up, I just love that sound. And especially right now, it's springtime. And I like that sound, number one, because it just makes me feel like everything's well with the world. When I don't hear the birds, I'm a little concerned. So when I hear them, everything's well with the world. And it's just a wonderful way to wake up. And in addition to that, you realize that you've woken up. It's like, hey, I'm alive. I'm alive. But I really love that sound in the morning of the birds just kind of waking up themselves, that chirping little sound. I love that at dawn. I just, and I'll lay in bed sometimes just listening to it. Because once again, it's about the connection to, the earth and the universe and all that, and they're a part of that. And in my listening to it, we become part of each other's experience, and so that's very exciting.
As you're talking about that, I'm thinking Disney really had something when, in most of his movies, like Snow White and things like that, it's like the good people or the positive energy people were surrounded by the animals who were doing the chirping and
absolutely,
and everything was happy and stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know, that just popped in my head.
Oh, absolutely.
So what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, well,
I got one.
For you folks that are out there that enjoy basketball, there's something about the thudding of that sound. That sound. Especially when you're meditating. That it's almost like water torture or something, So that sound, that thudding of that sound, and that's all I hear. I don't hear any voices. I don't hear anything else. I just hear that do. So that sound, nothing negative about you basketball fans, but that thudding sound when you're in a place of quiet and contemplation. Wow.
It's like quiet and all of a sudden, Yeah, and you have, just like we live in neighborhoods, so we have kids in the neighborhood, and now everybody's playing basketball, so. This is one of my favorites. What's your favorite curse word?
My favorite curse word? That's on the list?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't even see that one. My favorite curse word? A favorite curse word?
There's so many, I don't have a favorite, but...
Well, I don't think I can say.
Can you whisper to me?
It's like when you're really, really at the end, your wit's end, right? And you go, F! Exclamation point.
See, now that he's a doctor, he can't curse.
Well, plus, who knows who's going to see this?
Well,
so...
it's just, you're human. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, as I think about the next 10 or 15 years, I certainly would like to be an English as a second language teacher. The reason that I would love to do that is I like the idea of always giving back to the community or individuals, but since I love diversity and so much, I know that it would be a very diverse group of individuals that I would learn from too.
Right.
I mean, so that excites me that there's always learning going on. There's, we're all teachers and learners at the same time, and I really love that idea. And it would be doing work that I would feel that I was providing, you know, like I said, again, to the community. So that's one thing that I really do plan on working on in the next couple of years. And you say career or work? How did you phrase that?
Profession.
Again? Profession. Well, I think that no. Let me be more demonstrative. The work that I will be doing that I'm not doing enough of right now is writing.
There you go.
That's what you want.
I was waiting. Right? I was waiting for that. I can't tell you how many years it's been since I've started saying, hey, why don't you pull that novel out, or hey, why don't you start writing, or hey. And when we get together, we have, when there's time, we have numerous amounts of conversations, and Stan will always grab a notebook and start writing notes, and I'm like, all right, well, where is that book from all those notes that you're writing? And so I keep pushing that, because I think that's something that everybody's missing, actually, that creative part of you.
Well, you know, as you know, this past weekend, I decided to kickstart that, and I kickstarted it by reviewing all my journals, and there's about 25 of them that go back to the 70s.
Wow! And
in doing that, I highlighted things and I tabbed things, and so what I'm going to do now is to kickstart that writing journey or trajectory is to take notes of the things that I've highlighted and paint, and so because I see a story there. I mean, so here's another way of me rebooting my brain around all this. But it's also I can feel a natural story developing already just from my little review. So I've already started that this weekend. So I'm very excited about it. I couldn't believe I got through 25 journals. And it's just amazing the things that you write down and save, and the experiences that you've forgotten, you know, and etc. But it was a great exercise for me.
Good. I actually feel kind of like a slacker. He has 25 journals from the 70s. I have 3. But yeah, I'm glad that you're doing that, because we've seen the academic part of you. We've seen the diversity part of you, and I think everyone needs to see the creative part, because not only like me, where I'm writing music that I'm hoping people will like, I think we send messages through that, and I think we help people with that. So
well, the other part of all of that is I want to create something, I'm not quite sure what to call it, that combines the creativity of writing and my spirituality. And that may not be a traditional minister kind of role, but something that combines those two things, you know. So we'll see what happens with that, you know, and because I'm so inspired by music, and I'm certainly inspired about a lot of your music, you know, and you know, and it's been great to be a consultant with you and looking at it and listening and deepening it in whatever ways makes sense, because I have a different lens than you do,
right.
And so that's always works really well, it seems, for us. So I feel like this might be a summer of evolution and back towards writing in a non-academic way. You know, so you know, we'll see what happens.
Very good. Very good. I have one more question here. This is actually one of my favorite questions too. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, wow, God's going to be there waiting for me?
Well, yeah.
Not St. Peter. No,
God's going to be there. Well, St. Peter's going to let you in. Make sure you're in the book.
Okay. Honestly, I would love to hear that you lived a life of service to others. You know, I mean, that's the first thing I think I would love to hear, and that I'm loved for that reason. That I lived a life of service to others, I think, is the thing that kind of floats to the top of all the thinking I'm doing around that question. I truly believe that I've been placed here to be of service to others, and I don't mean in a way that's demeaning or otherwise, but I know that I get my most energy when I feel like I'm really connecting with individuals and providing something useful for them. And of course, I'm getting something back. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, you know, it's not a one-way situation. So I would love to hear God say, my son, you are deeply loved because you have been an incredible person who's been of service to others in your earthly walk.
Okay, I like
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's all the questions that I have. Is there anything you'd like to tell all the people out there that are listening, or anything that I might have skipped that you want people, any interesting facts that we'd like to know about Dr. Byrd?
Well, I guess the thing that that we weren't able to do in this session is I really wanted to be able to play a couple pieces of your music that inspires me, and so it may be something you might be able to attach to this recording.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll tell you which couple songs that I would like to have my personal audience hear. That's part of you,
Right.
So I mean, I see this once again. I see this as an opportunity. Going back to my first word, of not just sharing with your constituencies and your groups, but I want to send this to everyone that I can too. And so in that way, they get value of hearing some of your music. Okay. So whatever you do, make sure that you add this piece around a couple songs that you know that I find especially inspiring. So yeah. I'd like to have that happen, as part of this.
You let me know. Yeah, you let me know which songs you want, and I'll do my editing magic.
Okay, that'd be great. But that's what I would like to see as part of this. Initially, when we discussed this, that's one of the things I said that's really important to me. This is, it's sharing information, but it's also about, sharing our gifts and talents. And so, let's do it.
Yeah. And speaking of sharing, I think maybe like 5 minutes ago or so, I whispered, "The show."
Okay. I didn't know what you said. That's why I didn't respond to it.
The show. I'll say it louder. The show. Gosh, this was when I was in college, so 20 plus years ago.
20. Let's just say 20.
We, again, having a conversation one day, and we were like, we need to do like a musical / theatrical drama fun kind of thing.
Spiritual revival.
Yeah.
Non-denominational, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Interfaith.
And it's kind of changed over the years, and I kind of actually would like to get to the point where we're actually doing something like that.
That's still part of all of this this resurgence and connection to the creativity,
Mm-hmm.
I still absolutely feel, and thanks for bringing that up again, I absolutely feel that when you think of career,
mm-hmm.
that's another piece.
Right.
So it would be a combination of this incredible music and lessons discussed, and I don't even like the word sermon, so I'll just say lessons that we can share with each other. Mm-hmm. And then coupled with a workshop, that looks at how we can be better allies and supports to each other. So that's still in my head too, around doing that as part of my continued growth as an individual. So.
Yeah, and that's something I think on a worldly scale, that's something I think we all need, because I think we as a population or people as a whole, we need to get connected with ourselves more.
Mm-hmm.
And I meant not just with ourselves, but with other people.
Absolutely.
Because there's too much of a disconnect going on right now, and I think if we all kind of came together and helped each other out,
mm-hmm.
and things like that, I think, not to sound all sappy or anything, but I think the world would be a better place.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, saying that, then songs like "Let It Out" and "Helping Hands" that you've created are songs that come to mind. So perhaps the viewers will get a taste of that at some point. At least one of those, if not both.
Very good.
Good.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys for listening and looking, and thank you again, Dr. Byrd, my brother Stan, for sitting down with me and having this interview. So, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, or the rest of your night, or whenever you're watching this, and I'll be chatting with you soon. Take care.
Great. Peace.
one. I just asked for one. Was it pestilence?
Pestilence.
Pestilence. Nice. That's fine. So, what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?